Good morning, everybody. I'm Rick Phipps. Thanks for stopping by. It's 8:14. It's 46 chilly degrees, and on Mondays, we get a chance to talk to Kenneth O'Neal. Good morning, Kenneth.
Good morning, sir. It was a little chilly this morning, but it feels good, and temperatures will rise.
Was a little chilly?
Was. Hey, you know that Doobie Brothers song? Now, the Doobie Brothers, they were from Georgia, right?
I think you're thinking of the Allman Brothers.
Oh, maybe not.
I don't know. I don't think they were from Georgia.
Oh, okay. We might have to check that out. Okay, so it's a great week, the beginning of the week, and we're here to share the word of the week. And we always
we have a drum roll.
No, we're not going to tell them yet. Okay, I got a little intro, so we want them to write it down and use the word of the week in your thoughts and your deeds and your actions. And you might already have a quality or a desire that you want to take to the next level. So you could replace a bad habit with a good habit. So the word for this week, and I have to admit, it's been tough doing this word for me. This word is...
I think it's probably tough for everyone.
It is. But the word this week is commitment. 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 I think everybody pretty much has a understanding. They think of what this word means. So we're going to look at a few different ways that commitment.
I assumed that you were going to kind of put a little twist on it.
Little twist. We really want to do that. But it's an old word that comes from the Latin, and it actually means to connect or to entrust someone. It's a promise. It's a promise that binds us together with who is the recipient of the promise. But it also is a promise to yourself. When you make a commitment, you are really making the promise to yourself. And it's more than just a decision. It's an ongoing, continuous choice. You continue to make this choice that you are committed. And when I think about this, you think about when you went into the Air Force, you made a commitment. You made a commitment. Some people made it for longer than you and I did. You were in there longer than me, but so that's a commitment. That's the kind of stuff we want to talk about, is not the promises that people make.
Well, commitment had a timetable.
A timetable. It had a certain time frame. And what we're talking about, though, and want to delve into, is making a commitment for a lifetime. A commitment for a lifetime.
As in marriage.
Marriage. I think that was the intent, is that it was lifetime. But as we were discussing earlier, there are circumstances and there are things that actually happen that maybe we didn't have all the information when we made that commitment.
Exactly.
So things change.
Exactly.
And I think that we have to be ready for that kind of stuff. And that's why I go back to always this idea of having effective conversations and ask really good questions. When I am coaching an individual, I say, hey, will you give me permission to ask you the hard questions, the difficult questions, the things that really matter in life? But I give my coachee, I said, you can ask me the difficult questions. Let's have a conversation. So we make that commitment to each other. And I've finally come to the conclusion that the best answer to any questions by my coachee is to say, do what I do.
Not as I say.
No. That was good, but no, not just what I say, do what I do and say. Okay. So, that's that life of integrity we try to talk about. But let's take a look at this, because have you thought about this? The word is that men have a reluctance to commitment.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do you think that is? Why do you think men more than women, or that's the way life kind of goes?
I have no idea. To be honest, I have no idea.
What? Okay. So let me give you a couple of things that we can talk about.
Gee, I let
Gee
you
whiz.
right on in there.
You did. Johnny Carson, you're that guy that helped Johnny Carson. I know it. Okay, so I think one of the big things is the fear of losing their freedom.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that would be a major one. And especially in making these commitments in relationships, because a commitment, one size does not fit all.
Well, that's true.
So some common reasons here is on the fear. It's just the fear of being tied down to something, because see, up to now, before marriage or whatever, they have been on their own, doing whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it. And then I think that there's a certain amount of maybe some past pain in their life. And then the biggie is they just might have some uncertainty about the relationship overall. But it goes back to a lack of being able to have the conversation.
But so you get all your let me pose a question to you. So you have all the answers, you make that commitment, but through no fault of your own that you made those commitments based on the facts you had, it all fell apart. And that's a possibility.
And that is definitely a possibility. 50% of the people that get married, they end up divorced.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So on that, let's just look at this. All men are not afraid of commitment. There's lots of men that have made that commitment. I know some stories of some guys that had never been married, a lady with 3 or 4 kids, and he adopted them and brought them into the family, and he was in there. And so there's a lot of men that are looking for a deep, meaningful relationship. And he might hesitate as we begin, but coming to the commitment after making sure he's got all the information. So there is something out there for guys that want that meaningful relationship. I had a discussion with a young man yesterday, 35 years old, and I think he might have been married for a month or so, and then it ended. All right, he's young, 20, 21 or whatever. But now he has met someone that he is very serious about. And of course, they're mid-30s or so. So they're really taking gentle steps, all right, to make sure that's what to do. And Ziegler, he said, it's character that gets you out of bed every day, the character. And it has to do with a word I love, is gumption. That's your decision making. You can stay in bed all day if you want to, all right? But you made the commitment that you're going to be somewhere by 8 o'clock or somewhere by 9 or wherever. You get up and you make that decision. Second part of that is the commitment that moves you into action. You move into action, and then, of course, the discipline actually keeps you going. So as we finish up here, let's talk about real quickly, okay, in our lifetime, and that's what I'm talking about, lifetime. Make a lifetime commitment to be involved. If God sends somebody into your space, into where you are, and they need help, make that commitment to help them.
Yeah.
That's lifetime. So marriage we talked about, that's one type of a lifetime commitment. Then, of course, we make a commitment when we have children to parent them for a lifetime.
Right.
And it might be at different levels. But then you make a commitment to your career. Okay, so I've made this commitment to life coaching and training and personal development to help other people. Some people make a lifetime commitment to the military. Some people they're whatever they feel that they've been called to do. And then on your personal goals, make a commitment to be physically fit, eat the right foods, get the right amount of sleep, all of that stuff. Make that commitment. And then, of course, the biggie is to make that faith commitment. What is your belief system? And so all of this takes about 3 things. Unwavering, strong dedication. Dedicate yourself to it, to the lifetime commitment. And you need, Ziegler said this, you need consistent effort and you need persistent focus. Focus on your life. All right? You must have a long-term perspective. We're not going to do this till the end of the month. This is going to be for a lifetime. And there are people in January, that gymnasium over there, those fitness centers, they were full in January. But in February, you were probably able to find a parking place. All right. Now, you've got to be emotionally and mentally involved in this decision with yourself. You got to take some time to reflect on what you do, how well you do it. And then lastly, you've got to accept responsibility for your actions. And there is the bugaboo. A lot of people do things that they don't
take responsibility.
That's right.
Absolutely. Words of wisdom from Kenneth O'Neal, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to chat with him or just go out and have a cup of coffee, you can get a hold of him by email, merger@windstream.net, or you have the telephone number.
I have the phone number. It's 830-285-7010. Send me a text and we can communicate in a short term that way. We can have coffee, lunch, whatever they want to do. Love to have an effective conversation.
Thank you very much, sir. He's here every Monday just after 8 o'clock, and we chat about the word of the week. And this one happens to be commitment.